Do you struggle to write answers in exam and feel that mugging up notes is not the way to become a good answer writer? Then you are in the right place. Understanding this text is the basic foundation to excel in exam, and apart from this, student must know another side to help them score. It is said, and it is absolutely correct when we say that when you write an answer, there should not be another question arising from that answer. So that does not mean that you have to write the whole summary of the literary piece every time in your answers or every answer. Answers should be written with clarity and should be context oriented. Today, we will see how to structure an answer with all the specification that an answer needs to cover and to make an impression of yourself on your answer scripts. The first step is to read the question carefully. It will ask you to explain, justify, or describe. The keywords I mentioned here will tell you exactly which type of answer the question demands. Let's take a question from the story A Letter to God, the first chapter from First Flight. The question is, what is the irony in the story A Letter to God? Now, take a note here. Here, we will not retell the story. We will explain the irony directly. Now, how we will describe the irony directly? This we will discuss here in step 2. How to structure our answer. Now let's go deeper into this topic. Generally, you will find 3 types of question in your question sheets. So first type is 1 or 2 marks question which needs 30 to 40 words for a complete answer. Type 2 is 3 or 4 marks question which needs 40 to 50 words for a complete answer. And type 3 is 5 or 6 marks question which needs 100 to 120 words for a complete answer. Now, to answer all these 3 types of questions, we need to follow a 3-part structure. What is a 3-part structure? It consists of introduction, body of the answer, and conclusion. Introduction restates the question. Body of the answer explains from the text. And conclusion is the wrap-up line showing our insight. To understand this structure, let's take the question I mentioned previously. What is the irony in the story A Letter to God? If this question is asked to you as a 1 or 2 marks question, the word limit will be 30 to 40 words. So first we will write the introduction, that is, Lencho's unshakable faith in God is the irony here. Followed by the body of the answer, his blind faith has discarded the idea that God helps through humans. The conclusion comes with it. He tags the kind people selfish cheats, proving that blind faith leads to impractical thoughts. Now let's see how we will frame this same answer for a question which contains 3 or 4 marks, which gives us a word limitation of 40 to 50 words. Introduction. The story shows irony through Lencho's unshakable faith in God. The body of the answer, when the postmaster helps him by collecting money, though less than what he asked for, receiving which Lencho believed the employees are cheats who stole the rest of the money. Conclusion. This highlights how blind faith can be destructive and demeaning towards humanity. So you can see that the content of 1 or 2 marks questions answer and 3 or 4 marks questions answer differs from each other. Though it is to the point, but 3 or 4 marks answer needs a little more detail as you are getting more space, more word limits for that. So you have to justify with the word limits. Answering a literature question do not give you marks only for your knowledge of the text. It is based on the knowledge of the language. How you frame the answer, choose the words, use grammar, use the textual references and sentence construction. Everything is scrutinized. So when we will frame an answer for 5 or 6 marks question, the word limit increases. With 100 to 120 word limits, we have to give details, and here we get a scope to show our hold on English language. But before discussing the 5 or 6 marks question, let's check the step number 3, 4 and 5. Step 3 is using textual references. Examiners love when you use phrases from the text, quotes small lines, or describe scenes. Like while writing any expression from a letter to God, instead of writing Lencho lost his crops, write after the hailstorm, Lencho's fields were white as if covered with snow. See the difference? It sounds sharper and exam ready. Step 4. The more you will keep it crisp and clear, the better. We will not write stories, we will write answers. Keep sentences clear and to the point. Avoid unnecessary details and always remember quality over quantity. Now, it's time to see how to frame a 5 or 6 marks questions answer with a word limit of 100 to 120 words. Let's take the same question to understand the contrast between the answers in respect of language, length and material. What is the irony in the story A Letter to God? Here, your answer will follow the 3-part structure and the 3C formula. We have understood the 3-part structure in the beginning of this video, and now you might be having the question, what is 3C formula? 3C formula is content, clarity, connection. Content, cover all the points. Clarity, use simple, precise language. Connection, link every part back to the question. And now the final step, step 5. Use paragraphs, not one big block of text. Now let's frame the long answer of today's question. First, we will write the introduction. The story, A Letter to God, is built around the irony how blind faith can fail to recognize human goodness, which is as important as believing in divine help. The body of the answer will run like, Lencho's crops were destroyed by hailstorm. With his unshakable belief in God, he wrote a letter to God asking for 100 pesos to sow again. The postmaster and his colleagues, moved by his faith, collected 70 pesos and sent it to him in the name of God. However, Lencho does not recognize their generosity. Receiving less money than he asked lead him to distrust the kind people. He wrote another letter to God asking the rest of the money and mentioned, only 70 pesos reached me. Don't send it through the mail. The post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Now, the conclusion. This highlights how faith, though admirable, can also make people blind to reality. So next time you find a literature question, don't panic. All you have to do is to break it down, structure it well, use textual references, and boom, perfect answer. Tell me in the comment which topic you want me to cover next. If you found this video valuable, like, share and comment, and to get more real English learning tips, subscribe.